podcast. There we go. Hey, it's Daisha D.
And it's Jay Stan.
Welcome back to In Retrospect podcast, where we look beyond the surface to find understanding.
Bring you laughs, knowledge, and culture.
So sit back, relax, and join the convo.
Today we're going to be having two special guests on, Coach Ali and Kionnie Epps. They're going to be telling us a little bit about their businesses and several other endeavors and things that they would like to talk about. We're going to let them present these. We're going to start with Coach Ali, followed by Kionnie Epps, and then we're going to talk about, the advantages and disadvantages of running your own business.
Hi, everybody. I'm Coach Ali. I am a wellness coach as well as a chef, and I'm excited to be on the show with you guys today and just to spread a little love and some joy. So thank you for having me.
Hey, y'all. I am Kionnie Epps. I am the creator of The Responsible Homegirl, which is a financial education brand. So thank you both for inviting me on, and I can't wait until we dig into this conversation.
Most definitely. My name is Justin Stanley, or you can call me Jay Stan. I run a Shooting Star Press SC LLC. I write children's books, and I'm going to transition into also making little short animated films. It's coming. Just wait on it. Real soon, you'll see me. Let Coach Ali start first and let her tell us about some pros and cons, what she's dealt with in her area of business.
Well, first and foremost, I've actually been a wellness coach for 2 years now. And prior to that, I was actually in healthcare for 11 years. So there's a lot of pros and cons that come with it. I would say one of the biggest pros is actually knowing your clients, knowing what it is that they need, their needs can be met, and just understanding the body. And when a lot of people think of a wellness coach, they will connect it to a trainer. And I like to say, trainers train people, coaches change lives. There's a difference between the two. And so I would say the biggest pro of a wellness coach is being able to help a person align themselves on the inside so that they have balance on the outside. And of course, when it goes into the shift part, that's just the nutrition of what you need, of course, going into your body and reflect on the outside of your body. So that's one of the biggest pros. And then I'll say a con would actually be the lack of knowledge that people have when it comes to their nutrition. So it makes it harder for them to care about their nutrition. So that is one of the biggest cons as far as that goes. I see your face.
Yeah, it's whatever, but I just had a question though. So what would you say to those folks who be like, groceries and fast food cost, the same amount of money at this point?
Well, I would still have to disagree. And then it depends on what you're purchasing at the grocery store. That's one of the biggest things. I know a lot of people that say, well, it costs more to eat healthy, but is your health worth it? That's what my question would be. So, of course, you have to take into consideration what your long-term is. And if you have like actual goals, and I don't mean like just a banging body or anything like that. If you actually have goals, like I have children, I want to be here for my children. I want to be here for my family. And so nutrition is directly linked to that. And I tell my clients all the time, because of course, the wellness side of things is more so based on the foundation of you having, of course, alignment mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically. Because like I said, how you feel on the inside will reflect on the outside, and people just can't deny it. Genetics can only be an excuse for so long, because even someone who is obese can change their body if they so choose to. You have that power. Look. Okay.
Hold up. Wait a minute. I gotta get it here. I understand you might be upset with me, but people's bodies is different. We have different body types. You know what I'm saying? Like you got somebody that might go in the gym consistently for 2 weeks, and all of a sudden their body changes. All that water weight they had all of a sudden is just gone. Now they're looking cut up, tight. Everything look crazy. Then you got some people could be in the gym for a year, and their body's not gonna change.
She wasn't talking about body shape though. She's talking about overall health.
But I'm just saying. I just want to put that in.
Let me say like this. When a person, one of the biggest factors when it comes to health and wellness is your nutrition. And so the reason that the people don't understand is because, and I break it down like this: you can go in the gym and work out for hours on hours and leave and go eat a burger. And what would you have changed? You would not have changed anything. So if a person's body is not physically changing, I'm sure outside of maybe health issues, whether, they could be diabetic or something of that nature, if they don't change their nutrition, they can't expect to see changes in their body. They just can't. It just doesn't work that way. Our body works based off of calorie burn, as far as your metabolism and a lot of other factors. So when you factor all that in and you know how the system works, like I said, I was in healthcare for 11 years. And then prior to that, I was also in the military. So I've lived this life of fitness and wellness for about 14 years now. And I've had 2 children, and I've had my highs and lows. And I know nutrition is directly linked to that transformation. A lot of people, they want to make excuses for that, but it's just simply no excuse for that. You have to put in the work in the kitchen in order to see those physical results, because I don't know if you guys ever heard it, but abs are not made in the gym. They're made in the kitchen.
Unfortunately.
That was good.
Like I said earlier, I'm the creator of the Responsible Homegirl, which is a financial education brand. And one of the pros for me is I get to sow seeds and plant things in people's mind that they have never, ever thought about before. So how I even came into financial education was me messing up money. And from that, I believe that we should not have to fall flat on our faces, make mistakes just to learn how money works. So when somebody encounters the Responsible Homegirl, they see somebody saying, okay, yes, you make the money, but now it is your job to tell your money where it needs to go, what you need to do with it. So I feel like there needs to be more conversations around what money is, how we use it as a tool to create the lives that we desire. So that's like one of the main pros that I get from creating the Responsible Homegirl. I would say a con.
I know they be arguing with you.
Huh?
I know people like to argue with you.
I don't really think argue though. I challenge behavior. So It's like I don't ever tell people what to do with their money, because I mean it's your money. Do whatever you want to do. But at the same time, you can make more responsible financial decisions to create the life that you want. A lot of people, they know that they want these things, but their actions are totally opposite to what it is that they say they want. So then here comes the Responsible Homegirl. I'm like, make it make sense with an S and a C, because it makes no sense. So going back to the con, I think a con with me in creating the Responsible Homegirl is really figuring out what it is that people actually need. Because like I say, I focus on behavior. Like people think they have money issues, but they don't really have money issues. They have management issues. So I'm at a place right now in my business where I'm experimenting a lot. Like, what is it that people really value? What do they want on the other side of this money? And how can I show up and solve that problem for them?
Most definitely. I had a question though. Do you think everybody knows money? Like everybody feels that they know money, but they don't really know money. And then, so no, right? So why do you feel like it's such a hard thing for when people are trying to learn about money?
So two things to that. And I actually just shared a post about this probably like 2 days ago. So for one, we're never taught a thing about money. Like we kind of subconsciously learn about money from our parents or the people that we have around us. But nobody has, or in my life, has never sat me down and taught me, okay, this is how you budget. This is how you save. This is why you need to be saving, like discovering the why behind these things. But when people grow up and they actually start working jobs and they realize that they don't know how to manage money, either two things happen. One, they make mistakes and they learn from those mistakes and they start doing better. Or two, they repeat the same patterns over and over and over again. So like I keep saying, it's really like a behavior thing, and it's hard to break bad habits. Like y'all know that.
Can I piggyback?
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah.
with her wholeheartedly, because it's the same thing when it comes down to my clients as well. A lot of them, they didn't grow up eating healthy, so they don't know how to eat healthy. They don't eat healthy because they don't know how to cook healthy meals. So it's similar to what she was saying. It's literally for us in our culture, because we're talking about us, I would say that it has a lot to do with how we're raised and the lack of knowledge that we're given at a young age. And then we grow up in this mindset of an unknown. And then you have to go throughout your life trying to figure it out. And for some people, that's just a little bit harder than others. So I do agree with what she's saying, of course.
Okay, with both of you guys, because it sounds like you both are giving some kind of education, but you just simply need people to show up for themselves, whether that's in the gym or that's financially. Now, I do know that in our households, many of us might be missing that information. So do you feel like that's something that could be made up educationally, like in the education system? Like they should be the ones teaching financial literacy. They should be the ones teaching healthy eating if you're not going to get it at home. That's not to say it's all on the school system, but is that something that you feel like should be implemented?
Absolutely. And I think it goes back to what I said at first, like sowing seeds. You're not going to come to the Responsible Home Girl and get everything that you need, but you may come to my page, you may come to my YouTube channel, my podcast, whatever, and say, oh, shoot, I didn't know this about home ownership. Or, oh, shoot, I didn't know this about investing in my self-education. So I definitely think it will be beneficial in our school systems. I'm not saying curriculum, although if somebody would just sow seeds, like literally an after school program or 30 minutes, like we have PE, our physical education, our is just as important as like, finances and wellness, because we talking about real life stuff here, stuff for survival. Like people grow up and struggle. People grow up and get evicted. People grow up and do all of these things because of not knowing how to manage their money.
Totally agree. I don't know. Do they still have home ec in school? Do they still do?
No.
Well, I know they phased it out. When I was in school, they had it.
Like
No,
that?
my school did not. We had culinary arts.
My school I was a charter school. We controlled our own money. We had the food. We was.
I was in the public school system. You get
I was in
culinary
the public
arts.
school system too. But
I just said charter.
oh,
So
but yeah,
you
it's still a public school. They just control their own money.
Oh,
So
well.
move home ec, so now they're not even able to have the opportunity to create these healthy meals. And then when we look at the meals that they serve them at the school, that's a whole nother conversation. But the meals that they serve them at the school, they have their little pyramid, but they don't
Mystery meat.
that pyramid. So the kids aren't even getting the nutrition that needs to be met. They're getting that burger, or they getting that piece of fried chicken, or whatever, they may serve them there. And then they grow accustomed to that. So then the children are like, oh, I want to go to McDonald's, or I want to go here. And then, I will say too, connecting with Miss Epps here, the fact that parents have to work 2-3 jobs to even financially take care of their children. By the time they get home, they're not even having the amount of energy they need to prepare healthy meals. They're gonna stop at a fast food restaurant and just say, here, at least you're eating, or something like that. So it is connected. And I feel that the fact that they did take a lot of it out of the school system does affect the generations behind us and before us too, honestly.
And I mean, we're not going to talk about it because that would be a whole other episode, but there is such a thing as environmental racism and injustice. And that's why you have certain communities where you only have liquor stores and fast food places versus Whole Foods, exactly, versus a Whole Foods or a Publix. And again, that's a whole other conversation, but I feel like it does play a role in accessibility. And if you live in a rural area, you may not have access to a grocery store. So there's that.
These schools know what they're doing, or these systems, I would say. A lot of people don't realize it, but you're getting conditioned at a young age to think a certain way. And that's why you see a lot of this going on in a bunch of different households, because your parents or your grandparents may only know one way of thinking. They may have never been introduced to another way of thinking. So all they're going to do is pass on the knowledge of the things that they do know. Now, the issue that a lot of people have is, oh, I don't feel as if though I could challenge what's being said or ask questions about being said. What's being told to me, you know, that's law. There's no question in it. And, you know, sometimes you just got to ask questions like, why? Could you explain it? And you got to do your own research. And I think, you know, everybody just gets a little, you know, relaxed, um, too comfortable with the things that they're being told instead of doing their own research. Just like our two guests just spoke on these two different areas of life that are extremely essential. If you don't get the knowledge that you need, you will fall short in the long run. Yeah, the next question was going to be that what separates your business from any other business in the area or field that your business is in? What separates your business from everyone else?
Actually, I'm so glad that she just said that about low income neighborhoods. So that is honestly the biggest divider in my business and other fitness, we'll say fitness oriented businesses. So I have a passion to help our communities. And like she was also saying about seeds. So I just recently moved to Atlanta from Florida to expand my businesses. I actually have a team of coaches that is actually in Florida that what we do is we lease or purchase gyms in low-income communities to offer that to the community, because most of gyms are nicer gyms. They're in nicer areas, which is well out of reach for the people in our community. And so what we do is we lease, or like I said, own buildings in those areas. Like I just actually got my hands on a spot indicator. I can't wait for, you know, it to be open for everybody to come, but just got one indicator. And you guys, I'm telling you, like she was saying, it's literally nothing but liquor stores or fried food restaurants or something like
There's the
that.
churches. You know, there's the churches.
No healthy grocery stores. I haven't even seen a grocery store in sight. So I don't even know where they get their groceries from. Nothing, it's just polluted. And when I was in Florida, what honestly made me leave healthcare to do this was I actually was working at a health clinic in a low income neighborhood. Everybody had diabetes or high blood pressure, you know, gout, things like that. And it was just saturated, you guys, just saturated. And it was our community. And what shifted it for me was I was going home one day and, you know, being completely transparent, I work on that side of town. I don't live on that side of town. And it's just like now, I work on that side of town. I don't live on that side of town, but that's where the seeds come in. You can't forget about our community. You know, that's where our children will grow up. That is left for them, the generations after us. And I was driving home one day, you guys, and I actually saw them building a prison on the corner of in this neighborhood. Mm-hmm. And I said to myself, they're telling us what they think about us. They're showing us what they think about us. You know what I mean? And so that hit me so hard. And I said, you know, something has to be done. We're dying already. We're already dying, you know? And so what separates my business from others outside of focusing on the healthy nutrition portion, because I also offer healthy meal prep options and things like that, of course, for my clients and things and people in the community, it's also that one-on-one attention that I give my clients. Most trainers, they just say, do this, do that, up, down, go here, do that. I work directly with my clients because for a lot of people, it's an accountability thing, you know? And so they don't want to do it because they feel like I don't have anyone to do it with me. And so I don't ever want someone to feel like they can't overcome something because they don't have someone there with them, going through the motions with them. So I literally go through the entire workouts with them, guiding them through it so that they can go on and be stronger and actually make it a lifestyle change, not just a temporary thing.
Oh, powerful.
It was. Oh.
Oh, she there.
I feel like for me, what makes the responsible homegirl different is my relatability. So I never stand in front of people on my platform, if I'm hosting a class, whatever, and pretend as if I have it all together. Like when I tell y'all I am very transparent, I'm transparent behind all of my bad money decisions, all of my good money decisions, literally everything, because it is a journey. It's not always going to be on the up and ups. And even when I interview people and I bring people into the Responsible Homegirl, the first question I'm asking my guests is, tell me about an irresponsible financial decision you ever made. Because sometimes when you're on the other side of trying to get to where you want to be, you can get discouraged because it's like, dang, I did XYZ. You have that shame attached to you. You have that guilt attached to you. So I feel like the Responsible Homegirl is super relatable. People know that they can slide in my DMs. They can do whatever to get to where they want to be and ask me whatever questions, whether that's you getting better with your money or creating a business, like it doesn't matter. So I really think just like being my authentic self and being relatable definitely makes us stand out.
Most definitely. Kionnie, could you talk about the post you had the other day?
The
When
what?
you said the post that you had the other day, I believe it was on Twitter. It may have been Twitter, when you were talking about how much you spent, I believe in a month, or was it 2 months? And you were saying you spent, like, I think it was upwards around 10K or something crazy, like something weird up there. And you say you spent X amount of dollars in a month.
Yeah, so I was sharing my story of 2019. So I went to the College of Charleston completely debt free. So I had so many scholarships that I got anywhere between 5 and 7 grand in a refund check. So my senior year of college, I decided that I wanted to move off campus. Y'all know how we are, wanting to be grown. My mama was totally against it. And when I moved off campus, I realized that I did not know a thing about money, literally a thing, because here comes December of 2019 and I don't have my rent money. So I realized I blew $7,000 in 4 months. I was sick to my stomach because I had nothing to show for it. And although like I'm looking at, 7 grand in 4 months, people do that right now with their biweekly paycheck. You may look at how much you made an entire year and you have nothing to show for it, just blowing that money. So in that situation, I had to make a decision. Was I going to call my mama and ask for this 889, or was I going to figure it out myself? So because of my pride, I chose the latter option, but I thank God that I chose that option because that Kionnie is what created the Responsible Homegirl. Like I knew, even though nobody didn't teach me a thing about money, I had to take responsibility for my decisions. And then from there, I'm sitting there praying, crying, asking God, like, Lord, if you just get me out of this, I won't be the reason why I'm in this situation no more, and I'm gonna help other people. So I feel like my transparency, it really shows people like I'm not no personal finance guru. I'm not no money expert. I am your responsible homegirl. Period.
We appreciate you for sharing that story, because a lot of people need to hear it. You know, there's a lot of people that blow a check and don't think
Quick.
nothing about it until the time comes.
Right.
I would add too, I think for me, it helps to see someone that is younger doing it as well. Because I think sometimes when you're in your 20s, some of us have a mindset like this is the time to YOLO and live it up.
Yeah.
And sometimes you might need to start budgeting and doing the things that are necessary, because people love these buzzwords of generational wealth and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. But you got to start somewhere.
Got it. And it really starts now. Like
Yeah.
if we sit down, if we Google a chart about compound interest, y'all can see the difference between somebody who starts investing in themselves at 20 versus somebody at 40. And I would have to agree with you, Daisha, like so many people slide in my DMs, young and old, mainly older, saying woulda, coulda, shoulda. That's not
Yeah.
gonna be me. And as a responsible homegirl, I target young adults because I'm like, y'all, it starts now. If you can get your mind right, just imagine where you will be years from now.
That's a word. That's a word.
So it seems like for the most part, both of you have supporters and clients, people that you get to talk to on a consistent basis. Now, for those who are kind of struggling with that, why do you think it takes a while for people to support up and coming businesses or to believe in those business ideas?
Whew, that's a good one.
Yeah. Let them folks know it don't happen overnight, because everybody think
Right.
It not happen overnight. I think it has a lot to do with the audience that you're targeting and not knowing how to properly target them. And I only say that because I know for me, when I first started, I had this mind frame. I want everybody to be, I want everybody to be healthy. I want the world to be healthy. Everybody don't want to be healthy. That's just
Yeah.
that's real, just reality. Some people perfectly fine eating they chitlins and they fried pork chops and they macaroni and cheese and all that. You know, they perfectly fine. I
Yeah.
grew up, I'm born in Mississippi, y'all. Like, I'm born in Mississippi. So I grew up like eating Southern food every day of the week, you know? And now here it is. I'm the person in my family that gets teased for being the healthy person. You know, I'm that person who will bring her turkey burgers or her salmon to the barbecue and put it on there myself. I'm that. So, oh,
Dedication.
it has a lot to do with, you know, how, who you're targeting and how you're targeting it. Once I got past the mind frame of I can't want your goals more than you do. I can't want you healthier than you do. Once I got past that, that's when I started to see an influx in my business.
I feel like for me, oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
For me, and just being really transparent with y'all, like I am actually still experimenting. And I think a lot of times business owners, we create these businesses not for ourselves, but because of something that we've been through and like we want to help other people. But at the end of the day, you have to build a community around what people want. So
Right.
if anybody is listening right now and they're struggling, I would say you need to throw some stuff at the wall. Like, continue showing up. Don't get discouraged because you have done something and it hasn't worked. It's okay. Maybe they don't want that. But if you continue showing up and being consistent, something will stick. And even in my business, everything that I have put out there, it hasn't been super successful. Looking on the outside, I mean, being on the outside looking in, it may look that way, but that's not true. Like, I've taken like plenty of L's. But one thing about me, I'm not afraid to fail and I'm not afraid to continue showing up. So many people get discouraged. So all I can say is keep trying. And it goes back to what Coach Ali said, like, you have to figure out who you're targeting. Now, the word target audience, I feel like that is very misleading because we think that we have to show up for everybody. No,
Correct.
you need to find out an ideal avatar. Like, literally, I can tell y'all what my ideal client looks like. And when that person comes into the responsible homegirl like family, I'm like, okay, cool, that's her. I'm doing something good with my marketing. I'm doing something good with my messaging. Also, business is a whole learning curve. Like, when I tell you, just putting yourself out there and putting a product or a service and saying buy from me, that's not going to cut it. So give yourself grace and know that you're going to learn a lot through the journey, but you got to keep going and you got to keep experimenting.
Most definitely. I'll tag in on that because I do write children's books and it's different with this product that I have that I'm trying to get it into the hands of people that have kids or, you know, so basically parents, grandparents, and even guardians, because you have some people that are just, you know, the guardian of a child and they want the children to have a book. So you have to be creative, especially when you're doing it on your own, in a sense, to start it off. You also got to understand that over time, you're not always going to be alone. You're definitely going to essentially need to build some type of team or camaraderie with some people to get your idea to where you want it to be. But definitely, if you got something on your mind, don't hold that in. You need to make it come to fruition, because what you don't want to happen, like Kionnie said, is that these older people are going to tell you, oh, I wish I would have did this. I should have did that. At least tried to do it, but I didn't do it. Don't be that person. Don't be that person, because you have so much regret in life. It's not going to be good.
I don't know if y'all gonna like what I'm about to say, but I'm gonna say
Go
it
ahead, say what you
anyway.
got to say. It's fine.
I agree with everything everyone has said. Yeah,
I'm built to
beautiful.
last. Go
Huh?
ahead. I'm built to last. Go ahead.
But I will say that for some of us, we have to play things strategically. So, like, let's say that you have a passion project that you want to do and you want to create a business out of it. I wouldn't say quit your 9 to 5 just to do that passion project. I wouldn't say that. I would say have your 9 to 5, your stable income, and then still put in work into that passion project until it can become your full-time gig. I say that because when I first moved to Atlanta, the first job that I got was a contract therapist. So technically, I have, well, not even, I have a business license, But this is when I learned that I don't want to be a business owner because I moved here, got my business license for therapy. And so it's a contract therapy job. So I wasn't getting paid a salary. I was being paid for every single session I had. If a client decides they don't have time for you today, guess what? That check is coming up short. So after that, I was like, yeah, this isn't cutting it. So then I got a job in the school district, thankfully, but I still have that business license. So like on the side, if I want to take a trip, I can go and still have therapy sessions, but I still have that stable income. So all of that to say, I agree with everything y'all said, but I would just say be strategic when you're trying to live out your passions. Don't just jump head first and forget that life is still happening.
Yeah. And from that story, what I got is like being really self-aware. Like you have to know like who you are and what you're quote unquote, and I got to put it in quotes, comfortable with. And the reason why I'm putting comfortable in quotes, because I feel like comfortability can be a good thing, but it can also be a bad thing, right? But somebody who is interested in entrepreneurship, you have to get used to being uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. So like in that situation, you're like, I'm not a little comfortable with this paycheck being, unstable, right? Yeah. So you have to know yourself and become very self-aware. Another thing that I just want to touch on is like, we have to look at our 9-to-5s differently, like change our mindset around how we look at our 9-to-5s. And I'm not saying our, because I don't have a full-time job, but like, if you have a full-time job, that is your number one investor. You need to be taking your income and turning it into an asset. Now, your asset may not be a business. It can be a business, but it can be an investment into more of your 401k, a Roth IRA, an investment property, something that is going to eventually make you more money or make you, appreciation or something, right? So look at your 9-to-5 as just deeper than a job, because it's not a job. You're spending your time there. So figure out how you can best benefit from working from 9-to-5.
Most definitely. Side note, tap in with the responsible homegirl for more information on those very essential things that she brought up. Don't be that old person, thinking your Social Security was gonna let you stay retired and find out, damn, I gotta come back out of retirement. I gotta get this money. Because that's basically, listen now, I was in the shop getting cut up by my barber, and he was like, look, man, I thought I was about to retire, but that's not about to happen. I don't got nothing but $200,000 in my, to get out. And if you essentially look at that and think about it, you'd be like, $200,000, that's a lot of money. But if you break it down and they giving you a fixed income every month, how long you about to stay retired?
And let's factor in inflation. Let's factor in inflation, because rent today is not rent 10 years ago. 10 years ago. No. It's not even rent 2 years ago. Rent today is not even rent 2 years ago. A mortgage today is not a mortgage 2 years ago. Y'all have to think about the cost of living, the cost of goods going up. The price is going to continue to go up. So that's why I am super passionate about, like I say, sowing these seeds of financial responsibility and wealth consciousness in people while they're like, in their 20s.
Oh, I was just going to say, I always say one income is too close to no income. It's just way too close. I personally feel that, especially, and you don't even have to be an entrepreneur. You guys, like, you can literally have a 9-to-5 and like invest in a vending machine. You can have a 9-to-5 and invest in somebody else's business that's doing well. Buy stocks. You can make your money work for you. Like she was just saying, don't limit yourself to one income, because that's when you start asking this person and asking that person. Well, then you're taking from their income versus just investing long-term into yourself. Because even me as an entrepreneur, I have so many other sources of income, because I say I want at least 8. I need at least 8 residual incomes coming in. Yes. I'm like on number 5 right now. So you have to seed and pour into yourself. You have a seed inside of you. Let that seed grow, let it flourish, and let it continue to grow. Plant it here, plant it there. And yes, like she said, everything is not going to work, but you won't even know that if you don't try. So I feel more comfortable trying my hand at something and that be the one versus working for someone else for the rest of my life and then hoping, like you said, hoping my Social Security will pay for me, but they're reducing that. So you can't rely on that. You can't rely on that anymore. You just can't. So I encourage everybody to have at least one business, at least one. And no matter what it is, you know, like I said, he writes books. Someone can invest in you, and then that one book become a best-selling book, and then what? You know,
the moon.
I would say just go for it. But I honestly think that everybody should at least invest in themselves, if nothing else.
Yeah.
Yeah. What I was going to say was that, you know, the main thing here is to everyone to be strategic. If you don't like, you know, where you're at, it's okay. You're not alone. There's a lot of people in this world that are not okay with where they're at. Right. And then, you know, you just got to understand, like, if you think, oh, I'm gonna quit this job, well, I hope you got money saved up.
Or one lined up, a job lined up.
Something lined up. Yeah, I mean, you see, and I had this conversation with somebody the other day. A lot of people think, oh, I'm a quit and I'm a figure it out. I'm gonna do this, that, and the third. You always need some type of capital. You need something to survive off. Yes, you can lean on people, but from past experiences, you know, leaning on people turns into you starting to become a nuisance of some sort. Well, I feel this way. But I've never been one of those people that, oh, I'm gonna just stay where I'm at or what I'm doing for a long period of time, depending on somebody else to keep me afloat. Like I need to get out there. I need to make it happen for myself. Now, everybody's mindset is different. I understand. We will say ideally for most of us is that I'm gonna keep my 9 to 5 until I find something else, and I'm gonna transition out from that 9 to 5 to another 9 to 5 that is more accessible to me, which allows me to do other things on the side. Then you have some people when they're working a 9 to 5, what they'll say is, "Oh, I can't do this no more. I quit." Now, if you want to take that that road, I hope you have enough saved up to last you. Now, I'm not a financial expert now. That's why we have someone here.
Isn't it like 6 months?
Can tell you better.
You
yeah, well, I don't know. I'm gonna tag somebody in for that. How much funds you need to last if you decide to quit your job out the blue and look for something new? Well, I'm gonna tag in the responsible homegirl to let y'all know.
I mean, because I know you guys are saying, you know, don't completely leave your 9 to 5 unless you do have that something else. For me, I did just, like I said, I was in healthcare for 11 years and I did the leap.
Yeah, so it's different, yeah.
But I had already formed 2 other sources of income that were residual incomes, which did make it easier for me to transition. So that does go back into investing in yourself more long term, so that if you do want to take that leap, you're able to. Because honestly, I never saw myself as an entrepreneur until I became an entrepreneur. I never saw that for myself at all. I was perfectly fine being a worker bee, working for the hospitals or clinics for the rest of my life, taking care of people. I was perfectly fine with it. And then one day something just clicked in my head and I said, if I can work this hard for them, I can work 2 times as hard for myself. And then that's what that came to me, that's what I did. You know, it was right when the pandemic hit, April 2020. And I said to myself subconsciously, I said, by the fall, I'm quitting. And that's exactly what happened. No warning, no nothing. It was just like, put your 2 weeks notice in, because the environment had just become so stressful and it was just too much. And then I said, you know what? This is obviously that point for me to go ahead and leap out there. And I haven't looked back since, you guys, and it's been 2 years now. So I do agree with you guys, making sure that you have that foundation set for yourself, because you will cause failure if you don't. But I will say, after you set that foundation, after you've poured into yourself from that 9 to 5, then you guys can go ahead and try to take that leap out there.
Yeah.
And I'm so happy you shared that, because I think that is very key. Like, use your resources until you can't use them no more. But I want to touch on sacrifices, because a lot of people, they want a whole lot, but they're not willing to sacrifice. So just a little bit about my story. After graduating, I moved back home. Y'all, my life is totally different than what I thought it would be after graduating from the College of Charleston. Like, I did not want to move back in with my mom because I thought I was grown. I did not want to come back to Kingstree because I thought I was grown. I'm thinking that I'm supposed to be someplace else. But I am so happy and so grateful that I have a home to come back to. My mama does not require me to pay bills, and she is super supportive of what I am building. So literally the bills that I focus on is my car payment, my phone bill, and whatever comes with a responsible homegirl. So if you have people around you or somebody around you who believes in your vision and you're actually showing up, use your resources, use what you got to create what you want. Now, I'm at a place where I don't have to work a full-time job because I am simply focusing on the responsible homegirl. But when you have other things, I don't want to say attached to you, but when you have more responsibility, sometimes you can't do that. Like if I had a child, I probably couldn't do that because now I need to worry about really feeding my child. I mean, I can eat a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, but I'm just saying, like, you have to make sacrifices. You got to make sacrifices to get what you want. Period. You just got to do it.
I do have to add just one little tidbit in there, though. With all of this talk about money and health and all of that stuff, that's also connected to your mental health as well. So if you're struggling financially, that's going to affect you. If your nutrition is off, that can definitely affect you too. So just pay attention to that as well. Because I think there are some people who overwork themselves because they're trying to win, whatever that looks like for them. But then,
My bad. I said my bad.
You're bad.
Yeah, I work too hard, but I'm doing better.
No, he's telling the truth though. So like some people overwork themselves to the point where they cause themselves to be very anxious, very depressed, and then they don't really know why. And it does start to affect your body as well. So I just wanted to add that tidbit in there.
Yeah. You have to have a firm foundation, and especially if you're listening to this and you are wanting to build your business, or if you're an entrepreneur, mentally you have to be in another place. Like y'all, I literally had a day 2 days ago, and I had to pull myself up out of that funk, because there's going to be sometimes on this journey where things don't look like how you think they should look, or things are not like just how you wish they were. But even in the midst, can you still press forward? Can you still keep going? And I promise y'all, I did everything in my morning routine, everything, and it still wasn't clicking. I did not want to move, but God knows exactly what we need. And one of my friends, he sent me a text, and boom, that got me up. So it's like you have to have things to pull on you or to pull up on to keep you going. But I definitely agree with you. Like, it's a mental battle. You got to be strong.
Yeah.
I definitely agree with that. I agree with that. No, I was saying I agree with that. That's all I'm saying.
Sorry. I agree with you guys as well. Your mental health is one of the biggest things. Like if you are not mentally healthy, you really can't expect to be healthy in any other aspect in your life, not emotionally, not spiritually, and definitely not physically. So anything that we do has to be a mental decision. Just like you say, you guys remember the commercial where they say one bad choice leads to another bad choice. So either you're going to eat the cookie, or you're going to eat the salad, or are you gonna eat the brownie, or you gonna eat so it's mentally you have to make those choices, even for your finances. Like she was saying, you have to make those choices. Okay, am I gonna buy these bundles, or am I gonna pay my light bill? We're gonna talk about
it. Come down to that.
or if I'm gonna go buy that, I'm gonna go to the liquor store and use my last little bit of money to get some liquor tonight. Or am I going to start setting, people like to drink every weekend.
Somebody owes you money and you see them out and about.
And it's real too, because they're trying to mask their reality. They're trying to hide from their reality, whether it's bad financial decisions or whether it's, literally, y'all, I have a sister-in-law, and the doctor said, okay, you're borderline diabetic. If you don't start eating healthy, you're going to be diabetic, and you're going to have to start taking insulin. Y'all, she still eat bacon.
Listen, I think...
and it's her choice. It's her choice. But the doctor tells me, You know, I have family members where, and y'all, I'm literally, like I said, the health person in my family. None of my family contacts me for health and wellness services. None of them are my clients. None of them ask me for my help. None of them care. None of them. They're strangers that support my business more than family. And that's another thing. Speaking to those people who feel like they have a lack of support. I know that switch real quick. But the people who feel they have a lack of support, don't stop because your family doesn't support you. Don't stop. Because usually, and this is me speaking for me, a family member that doesn't support you is someone that's jealous of you, or someone who feels that, how dare she think that she can do this? How dare he think that he could be successful doing this? How dare them try to be anything other than something that's in a box that closes you off to the world? How dare you try to be successful? You know what I mean? And so they won't support you. But that doesn't mean that you have to set your goals or your dreams to the side because you feel that the people that you love the most don't support you. There are people that God will send appointed directly to you and your purpose so that you can grow and that you can flourish.
Yeah, I mean, I think that goes back to what y'all said earlier, like finding your audience, finding your people, and eventually you will align with who you're supposed to align with. And if they choose to come support you after the fact, then I mean, that's on them.
Right. Y'all need to leave y'all family members alone. Like, I'm sick of it. Like, I'm just being honest. Stop doing that.
They fine.
If your family members is not your target, I say avatar, your target audience, whoever, leave them people alone. And they can support you in other ways beyond, financially. Yes, it would be nice if they like a post. Yes, it would be nice if they share a post, but you did not get in business to get money from your family members. I'm here to set somebody free.
It don't cost you nothing to support your friends. It doesn't cost you anything to share something, to send some flyer, text some people a flyer or pictures or something promoting your friend's business. It doesn't cost you a single thing. All you're doing is taking the time out your day to promote your friend's business. And I will say this too, because this irks me a lot. Don't be asking for no discount. The price is the price. Stop doing that.
Man, well, some of them be running out though with the price. Some people run out with the prices. I'm just saying, not everyone, but yeah.
But what does that mean though? What does it mean to run out with the price? Because I feel like price and value is very subjective.
So to me, I'm not going to pay over $300 to get my hair braided. Some may do that. Daisha will not. So if you tell me that you're going to charge me like $350, $400, I will gladly find someone else. And that's not to say that you don't do a great job, because you do, and you deserve to be paid your worth. I just can't do it.
Yeah.
So
and I love that honesty. But I don't think it's running out. I just think that people charge what they feel is valuable or what they feel like the value exchange is. And if you're not paying over $300, that's cool. You just got to find you another hair braider.
Somebody will.
Yeah,
somebody will. Yeah,
somebody will. Right.
Let me tap in because we only talking about braids. So I have a friend, she just got her hair braided yesterday. She shows up on time. The braider was not there. She got there 15 minutes late, and then she still had to set up to do her hair. And the prices were crazy because it's in Atlanta. And so my friend's response to it was, me, I'm gonna leave. Just like Daisha said, I'm gonna leave because I feel like my time is just as important as your time. I have no issue paying you your worth if it's within a reasonable amount for me. But if I have to wait for you, even the girl that was doing my lashes, every time I went to her, I had to wait. And it's like, you have to see, like, okay, open up your books a little bit more if that's what you need to do. So I feel like if you're going to charge a certain amount, that amount needs to meet that service, like, completely. I shouldn't have to wait because you're late. You shouldn't be on the phone talking. You shouldn't be eating. You shouldn't be playing with your kid. You shouldn't be doing all of that and then expect me to pay $500 after I just sat here 2 hours longer than I should have had to.
Yeah,
You
I
don't pay
agree.
several bills for them.
And I think that's what it is for me. I think if I was to pay over $300, I am like, I'm looking at the entire picture, not just the product itself. And a lot of times the people who are trying to charge those prices, the service does not match up. The hair looks great, but the service, no, it's not cutting it.
That's how I feel too. I feel the same way. I'll pay for convenience. If it's something of convenience, I'll pay for convenience. I have no issue for that. If I got to pay a little bit more, that's totally fine with me as long as I'm being serviced well. If I'm not being serviced well, then what am I paying for at that point?
Have we had this conversation though? Because the reason why I say what is running out, because I feel like sometimes in business, we would literally shoot ourselves in the foot because we want a sale so bad and we're just undervaluing ourselves. So don't be out here in a rat race comparing what you offer to somebody else's business or saying, I need to put myself in this box as far as pricing. No, you show up, you bring value, add value to people, you solve people's problems, and people will pay.
Yeah.
And you also got to understand that you need to build some type of track record or foundation to fall back on. You can't just come out the gate, no credentials, nobody's referring you and be like, yo, $600. Huh? Excuse me? You just started, right? $600.
I mean, but even that, I would have to challenge you on that though, because who makes these rules? I feel like we subscribe to so much of what we think people want or what people have said in the past. Like, you're not about to put me in a box. If I'm hosting a class tomorrow and it's $1,000 and y'all saying, oh, Kionnie, when did you start? Two years ago? Yes, and it's $1,000. You coming or you not? Like, I'm not subscribing to these rules. And I feel like that set a lot of people free.
Right. So what I will say to that is this. There's a lot of, like I said, I write children's books. So what I will say to that is this. And reviews are definitely play a role in anything that anybody does in business, right? Yeah. So when somebody's about to get introduced or dive into partaking in a service or a product, the first thing they're going to try to do is read these reviews. You know what I'm saying? You can have a price and you'd be like, boom, all right, oh yeah, I'm on the fence. You know what I'm saying? Because 9 times out of 10, if you're looking at it, you're thinking about it, but you don't know. So what's going to bring me over the top to get that service or that product? Oh, I'm going to read these reviews. It was all right. Oh, it was all right. They weren't on time.
All right.
They weren't on time. Oh no. Click.
That's too much money to be all right.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just like you gotta be mindful of these things. So if you're coming off the rip of saying, oh, this is what it is, you just gotta be mindful of that. Now, what I will say, and I do agree with you on that aspect of set your price, believe in your price, give that product what it needs to be. But you need to understand as well is that if you don't have a foundation or a clientele of some sort or somebody that can, in a sense, vouch for you depending on what business you're in, you need to have somebody to refer you. Yeah. Like a lot of people don't realize when you have these resumes and you have these people that can be contacted to basically vouch for you. If you're a worker, if you do this right, if you do that, that's needed because that's that little bit more that gets that person to go over the top and be like, oh, I'm all in. I need it. I don't want it. I need it.
That's the two things too for anybody who's thinking of starting a business or who is a creator. Something that I learned along my journey as being an entrepreneur, you have to fill a void. You either have to give them something they need or give them something they want. If you're not able to give them one of those two things or both, rethink it. That's all I'm going to say. Just rethink it, because if they don't need it or if they don't want it, they're not going to buy into you. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
Oh, I agree. I also wanted to say that I appreciate you guys sharing your why, because that is so important. On your hardest days, your worst days, when things aren't moving or things are not going your way, if you can't refer to your why about how you started, your faith in what you're doing will be easily like brushed away, and you're gonna think like, oh, I need to find something else.
Having me, you guys. Thank you so much. It was an awesome opportunity to connect with some dope people. You guys are so phenomenal, and I'm blessed to be on with you guys. So thank you.
And I would just add, just like Coach Ali said, like, thank you so much for having me on. And for anybody listening, just know, and I always share this with my community, with exposure, execution, and consistency, there is nothing you can't do, literally. I know sometimes we can look at other people and kind of glamorize their lives or just want more even for our own lives. But if you just start with getting exposed, whether that's reading, listening to this podcast, listening to other podcasts, get seeds planted inside of your mind that allows you to see that there is more for you, then execute.
So we definitely enjoyed this conversation. I know I learned a lot. When we log off, I'm definitely going to be looking into investments. I'm going to include y'all's information in the description box below, so that if anyone that's listening is interested in their services, you can DM them, talk to them. Join us every Friday at noon.
And always remember to like, comment, and subscribe.